Ready when you are.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I need to read the following announcement. I would like to inform everybody that Falmouth Community Television, also known as FCTV, and Sean Driscoll, the authority's communications director, are making audio and video recordings of today's meeting. If there is anyone else making an audio or video recording of today's meeting, if you are joining virtually, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon on the Zoom dashboard. Or if you are joining by phone, please press *9 on your keyboard. And when you are recognized, please state your name for the record.
Okay, I've got a couple. Louisa?
Louisa Huffstadter, Vineyard Gazette. Thank you.
Thank you. Devin?
Devin Ankeny, Falmouth Enterprise.
Thank you. Oh,
Tom Walling.
and Tom, sorry, thank you. I see your last name there. Unki?
Unki Sanu, MV Times.
Thank you. And Jay?
Jay Kehoe, Cape and Islands Ferry.
Thank you. That's all I see.
Okay. I'd like to make a statement concerning remote participation. Pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 as amended, Board Member Maura Attorney is participating remotely in today's meeting because her physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. Maura Attorney is participating in the meeting by Zoom video conferencing app, and the members will be clearly audible to each other. As a result of these members' remote participation in the meeting, any and all votes will be taken by members today shall be by roll call vote. Can you hear us okay, Maura?
Yes, I can, Bob.
And we can hear you. Thank you so much, Maura. I'm glad you're here. Before we start the meeting, I'd just like to take a minute to introduce our new Port Council member from the town of Barnstable, Gregory Egan. And welcome, Greg. Yeah. I've known Greg for quite some time. I worked for his family at one time at Crosby Boatyard, which they own and purchased. Greg is a graduate of Mass Maritime Academy. He is running the boatyard at this point here. I'm participating with him in several nonprofit organizations, including the Hyannis Yacht Club, where he is Commodore, and the Alliance to Nantucket Sound. So I'd like to welcome Greg here, and he's going to a big asset for the Port Council. So thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, opening the minutes, we need what? Yeah, I've got that. I'd like to, yes, go ahead. I'd like to get a motion for the Port Council to approve the minutes.
We'll make a motion to approve the November 5th meetings, minutes. Excuse me.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Yes. Got drum roll that I hear?
Yes, it's a hum.
Something going on there.
Good morning or good afternoon, Rob Munier here. I'm the chairman of the Port Council, which I'd like to call the meeting to order. And it's our pleasure to have a joint meeting with the Board of Governors. And we are now doing this annually, and it's a great opportunity to be together.
So back to my premature motion for the minutes of November 5th.
I'll second that.
Do we need to do a roll call?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So we'll do a roll call vote.
You have to roll call vote on the motion. Accept the minutes.
We can just accept.
But I mean, we don't have anybody online. We still want to do a roll call vote.
Yes.
According to Terrence, we're going to do a roll call vote. So, Greg, welcome. And how do you vote on the, how do you vote on the acceptance of the minutes?
I'm in favor of the minutes as presented.
Okay, thank you. John?
Yes.
Joe?
Aye.
Gordon?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Meniere, aye.
Okay, moving on to the board. The approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Moved as a.
I'll second as to the November 19th minutes.
Okay, is there any discussion? If not, by roll call vote, starting with Rob.
Randy, aye. Jeffrey, aye.
Malcolm, I.
John's eye. And
Tierney Tierney abstain.
Maura abstains.
Yes.
Moving on. The minutes of the authorities December 2nd meeting, which was a meeting, an emergency meeting to approve a license. And is there a moved,
I'll second.
seconded, discussion? All in favor? Rob?
Randy, aye. Jeffrey, aye.
Malcolm, aye.
John's eye. Maura?
Tierney, aye.
Ernie, aye. Okay, thank you, Maura. Moving forward, the general manager's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. So before we begin, I'll just mention who's in the room in addition to the board and port council is Mark Rosum, Terrence Keneally, Sean Driscoll, Janice Kenefick, Allison Fletcher, Stephen Coleman, Monica Andrade, Mark Amundson, Todd Falvey, Sean Cameron, Sheila Cochran from the Steamship Authority. We have Murray Scudder III, and Tom Innes also in attendance in the room at the moment. So first item, I'll ask Mark to come up. We have an update on the Iyannough and Monomoy conversion project taking place down in Alabama.
Everyone. So let's go to the next slide. So the Iyannough is progressing very rapidly now. Let's show some photos here. Next slide. This is a profile view of the MES system. As we can see, all the flooring is done. For those who got a chance to see the Barnstable, this is on the main deck area coming in. All the seating is in place. We got the protective flooring over the terrazzo. Next slide, please. We finished the new emergency steering system we had to put in to be compliant for subchapter H vessels. Next slide. This is the exterior water closets. Everything is ready for the final joiner work to be put in along with the latrines, etc. Next slide. So the Iyannough coming up, engine mechanical startup, December 20th, dog trials, the end of the month, incline stability at the end of the first week in January. Pending approval of the incline test will be then scheduling the sea trials and start planning for the vessel departure coming up to New England. So Iyannough is going real quick right now. It's I think the whole idea is to get that same package we had with the Barnstable, and looking forward to getting that stability test done. A lot of this elements will be the same. I think it'll go through plan review a lot quicker since they have a baseline project, although the numbers will be slightly different based on the actual light ship weight of the vessel. For the Monomoy, she is going real quick right now. The Here's a picture. We're putting in the tonnage bulkheads in the forward ballast tanks. Next slide. This is just, they're getting, this is in preparatory for the split of the hull, taking out the 24-foot mid-body. Next slide. Again, just some more up close of the tonnage bulkheads that we're placing in the forward ballast tanks. And this is, the thrusters have been removed and the shafts have been, the main propulsion shafts have been removed. This being sent down to Miami for servicing. For the Monomoy, bulwark fabrication is completed. Mid-body removal is for the 20th of December. Most of it is cut, getting ready to, they'll be lifting that section out with the big gantry crane they have at Alabama Shipyard. Stability test is May. There's a lot of in-between parts that'll happen between the two, and sea trials for June. Having the blueprint done and all the plan review done will make the Monomoy go much quicker than the first two vessels as a result. So the financials on it, we have 6.7 million for the contract for the first two vessels, Barnstable and Aquina respectively. And for the Monomoy, we have 17 million. To date, we have a 3.1 million in change orders for the Aquina and 3.5 for the Barnstable, and the credits are not installed in this equation. So this is the status of where we are today. Any questions?
Any questions, Mark? If not, thank you so much, Mark. Oh, wait a minute, we got one question.
Yes, sir.
Terms of a rough guess on the Aquina getting service. Timeline. Rough.
Timeline, I look at where we are as comparison to where we were with the Barnstable. I see the stability test being 2 weeks later, just if you put one schedule, superimpose it on the other. But I also see the plan review going quicker for the stability tests. So I think realistically, I think we're probably looking at a February return date. Yeah.
Thank you.
Questions from the board council?
Having done,
Okay, thank you, everyone.
thank you, Mark.
Great vote, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
You too.
Okay, so next item is just a real quick IT update on the. Okay, we're done. Thank you.
Yeah, the very quick update is we're incredibly happy to announce that the RFR is out. It's available to vendors. And we've already been getting some questions back, so processing those. And then in line with the plan, working on the redesign of the bulks process, which is the preseason process with the shippers. And then have kicked off 3 out of the 5 of the project teams. So just very quickly on the next slide, I won't go through it in detail, but so the RFP's been, or RFR has been released, and then we're getting the questions back, and then there's a series of steps, and this is all in the published document with the current timeline plan to announce an award by April.
Thank you.
Any questions, please? Go ahead, Rob.
Just wondering if, based on the process where you're at now, the number of bidders you think is going to be about the same as you projected previously, or any change?
So we don't predict more or less. So we're still hoping we'll hit the kind of sweet spot of, something like 5 to 9 bidders to give us a good pool. But we'll see.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board council?
Thank you, Rob. Doctor, Peter?
I just wanted to take the opportunity to just mark this major milestone with the request going out and speaking from my position on the board and as a representative, the board's representative on the executive project steering committee, thanking everyone at the Steamship Authority whose efforts to date have been put into planning the reservation system replacement. Well, there's much to lies ahead. There's already been a substantial effort. I greatly appreciate all the staff time contributed on tasks such as reviewing requirements and researching the market and vendor capabilities. I'd also like to thank the numerous community voices that have been a part of the IT review and continue to inform the replacement system planning. These voices include islanders in the port communities, ferry users, local businesses, and shippers, amongst others. We plan to continue this engagement as we move forward to selection and implementation. From my own perspective, I think after our vessels, this will be our next greatest asset in meeting our operational needs for the steamship.
Any further questions? Moving on.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay, next, the staff wants to request authorization to renew the authority's license agreement with Hyannis Harbor Tours, Inc., commonly known as Highline, allowing to operate a passenger transportation service between Hyannis and Nantucket and between Hyannis and Martha's Vineyard, and also between Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, the inter-island service during the 2025 operating season. Back on December 5th, we received a written request from Highline for a one-year renewal of its license. There was, in the staff summary, there was a couple of things that we need for clarifications on that I received from Highline over the weekend. It was in regards to service for Christmas and Negatown for that, but I think that's a minor thing. We can work that out. I think that the general parameters are outlined here in the staff summary. So I don't know whether Murray wants to say anything, if the board and port council would like to hear from him as well, or if he wishes. Murray.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're looking to just continue the same schedules and service that we've been running in recent years. And if there's any questions, I can answer them.
Any questions from the board? Board council? None. You got all three.
Thank you very much.
Haven't done anything yet.
You want to turn it over to port council for that discussion first? For discussion purposes.
What does you want?
Does the port council want to discuss the proposal, the lease?
No, we already asked.
I thought we'd ask that question, but any questions?
I already asked that. Okay, moving forward, then we need to have a motion, I believe.
Motion, is there a motion to accept the new license agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
No discussion.
Okay, roll call vote. Gordon.
Aye.
Greg.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Munir, aye.
Now from the board, we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved, seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. No, excuse me, a roll call vote. Rob?
Rainey, aye. Jeffrey, aye.
Malcolm, aye.
Jones, aye. Maura?
Tierney, aye.
Unanimous vote. Moving forward, you've got your license.
All right, next, staff wants to request authorization to renew the license agreement with Freedom Cruise Line, Inc. They operate a seasonal passenger ferry service between Howardsport and Nantucket with the motor vessel Freedom. In September, Freedom submitted a request to renew its license agreement with the authority. The renewal request is for 3 years on the same terms and conditions as the recently expired license agreements. So it's the staff's recommendation that the members vote, the port council vote to authorize the general manager to enter into a renewed license agreement with Freedom Cruise Line for a term of 3 years of substantially the form attached to the staff summary.
Okay.
Yes. That's fine.
To the Port Council, do you have any, what are you looking up now?
We're bringing up Jack Sheehan,
Oh,
is the
okay, I'm sorry.
representative from
Yeah.
Freedom Cruise, if you'd like to say anything.
Yeah. Oh, Jack,
How you doing, Mr. Jones? I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
thank you.
Okay. Yeah, similar to Highline, we're looking for the same thing. Minor adjustments to coordinate our dockage times with Highline, but we work pretty well together, so I don't see any issues coming up. Is there any questions for me?
Questions from the Port Council?
Motion to approve?
Take it.
Roll call vote. Gordon? Gordon?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Nat?
Aye.
Munir, aye.
Thank you. Any questions or a motion from the board?
No more.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please. Rob?
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, I.
Jones, aye. Maura,
Tierney, I.
unanimous vote. You got it, Jack.
Thank you very much.
And I was remiss, I should have pointed out that, it's an example of the carriers working together to try to work out any scheduling issues that they have in terms of dockage, so it's appreciated by the public, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right, next, staff wanted to request authorization to renew the authority's license agreement with Island Commuter Corp., allowing the motor vessel Island Queen to run one additional round trip between Falmouth and Oak Bluffs on Mondays through Thursday during the 2025 spring and fall schedules. We received a request from Island Commuter Corp. Back in September to renew the license for the 2025 season to include one additional round trip between Falmouth and Oak Bluffs on Mondays through Thursday, May 23rd through June 20th, and the fall schedule September 2nd through October 13th. And to begin the fall schedule 1 week earlier than previous years on September 2nd. The staff recommends that the members vote to authorize the general manager to execute the license agreement attached to the staff summary with Island Commuter Corp., allowing it to provide the additional trips highlighted in the schedule is provided in the way the license formula works for this is that they pay a fee equal to 50% of the authority's average revenue per passenger during June of 2024, which was $6.06 for each passenger carried. The staff also further recommends that the members vote to authorize the general manager to take all necessary and appropriate measures to carry out the license agreement and to fulfill the authority's obligations thereunder. And I don't see anyone on there from Island Queen. No, I don't see anyone.
Okay,
Approve.
to the Port Council.
Oh. Anyone have any questions? Oh, sorry. It's sharing.
Yeah. That's okay. I guess the one thing.
It's like, he's gonna talk
The one question I would ask is, this is the first one that's had what appears to be a bit of an adjustment, but it doesn't appear to me to be material. Is that an accurate?
Yes.
It's not a material change.
It's just the
an
way,
older schedule.
the way that the schedule, the calendar falls is just to kind of adjust for that.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions? All right, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Nat?
Aye.
Gordon?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Munir, aye.
Okay, from the board, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved.
I'll second.
The second, any discussion? Roll call vote. Starting. Ready,
Jeffrey,
aye.
I.
Malcolm, I.
Jones, aye. Maura,
Tierney-
was that an aye?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, thank you, Maura. It's been approved. Moving forward,
All right, the next one is a little bit more complicated. So the staff wants to request authorization to issue a license agreement with Acme Falmouth Ferry MA LLC, allowing to operate a seasonal passenger transportation service between Falmouth Inner Harbor and Falmouth to Edgartown Memorial Wharf during the spring and summer seasons. That was formerly operated by Cape and Island Transport, doing business as Falmouth Edgartown Ferry. So in September, Acme acquired all the assets of Cape and Island Transport, including the vessels, and is subject to the authority's legacy ferry license. Acme seeks to operate the ferry business in substantially the same as it has been operated under the previous license. They intend to retain all captains, crews, managers, and other necessary and relevant employees involved in the ferry business, as they've had in the past. They intend to retain the same process, procedures, and schedule operated under Cape and Island Transport. So they to do so with the motor vessel Pied Piper, which is a vessel that Cape and Island Transport used previously. So so we received that request from Acme in November. And Terrence, I don't know if you have anything you would like to add regarding the.
No, the other interesting thing is Attorney Bob Ahmed, who people may know from Falmouth, represented Cape and Island Transport, and Bob's still retained by the new owner. So essentially all the interactions.
Pull that next to you.
Sure. So essentially all the interactions we've had is really seamless for us because it's the same folks locally we've been dealing with. So, and it's the same vessel. So for us, it's just a name change really, from all the contacts that we have. Any questions?
Moving to the Port Council.
John?
Has the sale gone through?
Yes, John, they bought the company in September.
Okay.
I have a question. Is there, I don't know what we know about Acme, other than they obviously had the wherewithal to purchase the marina and all these other assets. I didn't know if there was any merit to considering a shorter term as we get to know them, while then you would, revisit this. That way you establish a business relationship that you're not necessarily wedded to for as long a period of time. Just as an option, a thought.
Okay, could you poll your board?
Well, I think.
I'm just I'm posing a question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything that they submitted to us, Rob, has been on the up and up. I believe they're also affiliated locally with McDougal's, the Cape Marine Service there in Falmouth, Edgartown Harbor. And they're an outfit that's based primarily up and down the East Coast, and they have a main office, I believe it's in Charleston, South Carolina. So through our vetting and our information that we've shared with them, we've had some calls with them as well and feel very comfortable with them as a licensing partner. So.
Okay, so there is as early as Jay from Acme is Sean's bringing him over if you'd like to speak. Jay, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, yes, Acme, just to address one of the concerns is Acme is funded by Koch Industries, not Bill, but his other brother in Kansas. And it's got several marinas up and down the East Coast, as you said, and we are a sister marina to McDougal's right now. They're fully all in on the ferry business. They want it to be successful. They want it to be a great community service, and they're really upgrading our boat and our operations. So it's a good thing all the way around. I've been with Cape and Islands for the last 2.5 years as a general manager.
Wonderful. More questions
Any other questions of the board, council?
on the board? Peter?
I have a question, I guess, maybe towards Terrence. I see in the background information that the Coast Guard certificate of inspection expires, or is it in March for the Pied Piper? Is there any concern about us licensing a boat to run before it has a certification of inspection to run for the license we're granting it?
I don't have, because it's typically should be one that relatively taken care of. I think Jake can actually probably speak better to the status of his COI for the Pied Piper.
We had an import inspection 2 years ago when I started. And a dry dock inspection is scheduled in January. So we don't anticipate any issues. We had a full inspection, in-water inspection last summer, last March, and we plan on, maintaining everything. This year, we're upgrading our generators. So, we're changing over to put new generators, part of Acme's commitment to make the boats more successful and more reliable. So we've got new engines and we're going to get new generators. So I think it's a good thing. We had no issues with Fairhaven 2 years ago at our haul out. So it's a dry dock inspection in March, January, March.
Thank you. And one other follow-up question, I guess, in terms of the use of Edgartown Memorial Wharf, how long is your agreement with the Memorial Wharf?
It's a year-to-year agreement, and it's basically a rubber stamp. They have no problems. We haven't had a price increase in 2 years, which is kind of shocking. So I anticipate a small price increase this year, but it's year to year, and we renew it first of the year.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay, if none, could you get a motion?
Motion from the Port Council to
So
approve.
moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Matt?
Aye.
Gordon?
Aye. Aye.
Joe? John?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Munir? Aye.
Okay, to the board, a motion, please, made,
I'll second.
seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Randy, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Jones, aye. Maura?
Tierney, I.
Johnny, aye. Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a happy holiday.
Good luck next season.
Thanks.
Okay. Peter Pan,
Terrence will take that one.
Okay. So as everyone knows, we run, Peter Pan runs bus service out of our Woods Hole terminal to Logan Airport and other locations. In 2021, we came up with a licensing arrangement with them, identical to what we have actually with Plymouth and Brockton, which we'll get to. The license was extended through the end of this coming December 31st. And we're looking for a 1-year extension of that with an additional 1 year if everything goes smoothly. Next in 2025, we don't anticipate any issues. We've working cooperatively with Mr. Doherty and the operations folks at Peter Pan for a number of years. It used to be Bonanza Lines, if people are familiar with that. The relationship has been good. They've been working well with Allison and the terminal staff down there during our construction. So we're just seeking an extension of the license arrangement with them. Essentially, the license limits the number of buses that can be on the property, which is going to be important as we try to control the traffic as we build the Woods Hole terminal there. So with that, if there are any questions, let us know.
Any questions from the Board Council?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? It's just, as long as we're here together,
Yeah.
if there's discussion, it would be good to have.
well, if you have your discussions amongst your board there, then, we can have ours, but if you want to interact, that's okay.
But you guys might say something wisdom
Yeah.
that we would want
I
to.
need your wisdom.
The key word being joint meeting, right?
I have to go over
That's right.
parameters every year, once a year.
We're just all new at this game. Okay, do I have, is that in the affirmative, I assume?
Yes, I'll second. The motion by John.
Okay, all right.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Joe, aye.
Cahill, aye.
Aye.
Munir, aye.
Okay, to the board.
I make a
Mo-
motion.
Motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's seconded. Is there discussion? Peter?
Not to let Mr. Munir down. Just a question for, I guess, Terrence, under this license and given our construction in Woods Hole, is there the ability for the steamship to divert that bus from one of its schedules or alter its schedule because of construction activity at the terminal?
Well, I guess if you're asking, can we limit if we can limit the bus's operation on the property, yes. As far as diverting it elsewhere, no.
Well, I guess my question is, if we're having crane work at 9 AM on a Tuesday morning,
right,
can we have Peter Pan not have its 9 AM bus come to the terminal for safety reasons?
Yes,
under
I mean,
this
so
license?
I think I can clarify the point. So we are in constant contact with their dispatcher and in the conversations that they have with this terminal staff and Robbie Towns and so forth, hopefully in Allison's group. So if there's an issue like that, I hope it can get raised and communicated through their dispatcher. Again, we work well with them. They also occasionally come and they the issue that we have is that if they don't come directly to the terminal, where are they laying low, I guess, if you will. And there has been times where we've had to make arrangements with them to lay low at certain locations, primarily on the way to Woods Hole. Try not to impede on the residents down there. So that's why we do this constant communication with them. So the answer is yes.
All right. I mean, my concern is that we're not contractually obligated under this license to allow them access all, under those circumstances.
Right. No, the license actually has restrictions as to, and they do need to cooperate with our terminal staff at all times. Correct.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I think that's a good question, a good thought. However, I think we should avoid that at all costs because these people have scheduled routes and people come down, their ridership and thing is expecting a bus leaving, the terminal at X, hour. And so I think it would behoove us to make sure we avoid that. And so we don't have to implement, it says so here. Just pure, neighborly communications, that's all. So the answer is what you said is yes. And just a side thought to the Port Council. What? They've already voted. Voted. Okay, we got a first and a second. Okay. All in favor, roll call, please.
Jeffrey, I.
Jones, aye. Moore?
Tierney, aye.
Thank you. It's unanimous.
Okay, one more license.
Okay, so similarly to what we were discussing with Peter Pan, so the licenses, excuse me, mirror each other essentially in terms of the obligations of the parties back and forth. So, and the quote chapter and verse, Peter, it does say on page 2, all work and operations shall be conducted in a manner coordinated with the licensor. So that's just kind of reiterates the point that all the licensees need to work cooperatively with the Steamship Authority on access to the property. So similarly, when we began licensing the property at Woods Hole to these bus companies, Plymouth and Brockton actually was the the prime mover at that time because they wanted to come in and compete with Peter Pan. We accommodated that and we came up with this licensing program. And again, it's working out well with both companies. Again, as Bob said earlier, it's really important that we all work cooperatively in order to service the transportation needs of our customers. And I think we do that. Again, with Allison's team down there in Woods Hole, they do a good job, and especially with all the comings and goings of people and bicycles and everything else that's down there at the Woods Hole terminal. I think our folks are doing a great job down there. So with that, we'd like to get Plymouth and Brockton a similar extension of time through the which their license does expire at the end of the year. Again, it just mirrors the same situation with Peter Pan. And they'll continue to service the public and provide public transportation to Logan Airport primarily. And I think they also go to Providence as well, Providence Airport. So with that, if there's any questions, I can take those.
Questions from the board council?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Please say your name.
Cahill, aye.
Salito, aye.
Eagle, aye.
Peter, aye.
Because it's unanimous from the Port Council, from the board. Is there a motion to approve?
So.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? If not, starting with Rob.
Randy, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Aye.
Jones, aye. Maura?
Aye.
Thank you.
Tierney, aye.
Yes, thank you. It's unanimous. Moving on, the treasurer's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we got the business summary for the month of October, and since everyone has this in the packet and we have a long agenda, I'll be quick on the summary of the summary. Okay, so passengers for the month of October, both routes combined were up just under 2,200 passengers, or 0.8%. Year to date, we're up 0.4%, or just under 10,300 passengers. Passenger vehicles carried for the month of October, both routes combined were down 6.8%, or just under 3,700 vehicles. Year to date, we're down 3.5%. Virtually all categories were down in the month of November, but keep in mind in October. Okay, freight vehicles for the month of October, both routes combined were up 0.9%. And year to date, we're up 1.1%, or just under 940 vehicles. And these are all one-way traffic statistics as a reminder. Cars parked mirroring pretty closely to the passengers. For the month of October, we're up 3.3% for both routes. And year to date, we're up 1.3%, or just over 2,000 vehicles parked. Trip summary for the month of October, we had 12 trips canceled for mechanical, 0 for weather, 33 for traffic, 40 for schedule, and 85 for crewing. The financial snapshot for the month of October, revenues were down almost $92,000. Operating expenses were up about $94,000. We had other income up about $250,000. And putting this together, we had a net operating income for the month of just under $95,000. Year to date, we're up $17,652,000. That's our net operating income, or ahead of budget by $779,000. Okay, next slide. Waterline revenues for the month, as mentioned before, were down just under $92,000. Big driver there is the automobile revenue. Year to date, we're down $3.3 million in operating revenue. And again, you can see the automobile revenue is the driver on that for the year to date. Operating expenses for the month were up just over $93,000, or 0.8%. Driver on this is you're looking at the maintenance expenses, and a lot of that's timing from some of the previous months, where you can still see year to date, we're down $274,000, or 1.3%. Overall, for the year to date, we're down 1.7%, or $1.9 million for operating expenses. Snapshot of November, passengers were up 4,400 passengers, or 2.3% for the both routes combined. And year to date, we're up 0.5%, or just under 14,700. And the passengers carried for the month, all vehicles combined for the month of November, we're down 1.7%. The Vineyard route was up, while the Nantucket route was down. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions from either the Port Council or the board may have regarding the business summary.
Questions, comments from the Port Council on that snapshot of a snapshot? Can I ask one question, Mark? In any particular
trends that you are noting here in the data?
As mentioned before, it's the passenger vehicles and some of that earlier on the Nantucket run was because of the scheduling. Saw the first week in December that it's in October, seeing it more normalized a little bit compared to the previous year. But that's something we're keeping an eye on is the quantity of vehicles and also the distribution between the excursion and the standard fares. That's something I've been preaching for the last 12 months or so, but that's something we're really keeping an eye on. And with the new Barnstable vessel that we saw today and seeing how that'll impact some of the traffic patterns as well.
Thank you. Other questions from the Port Council?
Thank you. Very well.
Any questions, Jim?
No, there's a question, but it's a statement, but to quote the honored Mr. Solito, if you look at the vineyard numbers, it takes 3.5 excursion cars to equal 1 normal car in terms of revenue. And that, in my mind, is not sustainable. And I think we need to put it out in front of our ridership as well as our management that over the next year, we have to really start looking at our fare structure and our fare schedules, because this is, in my mind, not sustainable the way we're going, given the trends I've seen over the past couple of years.
Well, just, the excursion has been stagnant and everybody else has gone up around it. I think it needs, to be readjusted somewhat.
Well, in terms of stagnant, Mr. Chairman, I mean, we
Raising the rates.
correct, because I think when I was first getting involved, an excursion was about 62% of the cost, and now it's like 32% of the cost.
If I may, Mr. Chair, last month at the budget meeting, I mentioned that when Mr. Jeffrey brought up the excursion rate, that we should have a comprehensive review of the excursion program as a whole, look at the way the excursion rate is, as well as the how the policy is and the rates, and adjust it all together all at once. And we'd have some island working group discussions on what the current policy is and get feedback on any changes we'd want to do. Well before the budget.
Peter?
Follow up with what Mr. Malcolm said. I think it would be helpful when reporting out the operating revenues that you can break down the auto revenue between excursion and standard fare rate. I think having that visual, not only for the board and the Port Council, but for the traveling public, our customers as well. I think we need to educate where we are and in terms of what we're going to need to do in terms of fares.
Okay, we'll have that for next month's meeting.
Thank you.
Joe?
That's one of the concerns I have about getting rid of standby.
Joe, talk into the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's one of the concerns I have about standby. A lot of people have spoken to me about that. That most of the people are going to be coming over are going to be on the excursion rate. So we're going to be losing money for at least the first 3 months. Is there any way that we're going to know, or any way to figure out how many people within this new 3-month period are going to be using the blue line, so to speak? Is there a way to calculate that?
We wouldn't be able to count upfront as a forecast. The big thing is making the space available reservations for customers as easy as possible to encourage people booking. The easier we make it and the more readily available it is, the more people will use it. We can also ask the terminal to keep track of how many people on a daily basis are using the blue line, and we can the operations team could put a report together to let us know what the quantity is on that.
Because that would be the same day reservation, maybe might help out if the person got on had a 6 o'clock reservation, they went on the 2:30 boat instead of the 6, and that would be helpful to know.
So if I may, I think traditionally, if you go back, those January, February, March months were upwards of high 60s, low 70% of the automobile traffic is excursion traffic. That's the time of year when the islanders are traveling more so. And then it starts to typically drop down as we get closer to the summer months. But it's a very high percentage of those vehicles, whether they're going standby or whether they prefer it or whether they're just a regular reservation. It's a very high percentage of those vehicles that at that time of year are excursions. And
That's my concern, that people from New York, Connecticut, or Boston may not be coming down where they know they can't get into standby, and we're losing that revenue. You know, I think I discussed that with Mark before, that concerns me, that, you know, if I have a house on the vineyard and I decide Thursday, geez, I'm gonna come down Friday and just go on standby, they're not gonna do that. And we're gonna be losing that revenue. But that's, but no, that'd be another
Yeah,
discussion.
and the big thing, I know Sean and his team, as far as communicating out, it's mirroring what we do in the summer, where a lot of the people from Connecticut, New York are used to making those same day reservations on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And again, making sure that we make the process of booking that space as easy as possible.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing, right, since we're on this topic? Throw in the old idea about breaking up the time, like 15 to 31, more than 1 to 14, or something to that effect. There's more value when you can have your car off island for a month than there is for 3 days. And I don't know, that's worth re-examining. We've looked at this before in the past. The unbundling thing, I've never really agreed with that totally, but I think we need to look at that again as far as like, you know, most of the time on the Nantucket route, very seldom does everybody travel with the car, because they're either putting it on standby, the driver services. So there's all these other moving parts on the Nantucket side versus the vineyard side. You guys just sort of sit in the car and go for almost free at the Nantucket. And and so it's a different animal to look at, but I think that the time thing is something that I think there's a value to add to that.
I would agree to that, and that's part of the comprehensive review, is
Yeah.
it multiple types of excursions for different extent,
Yeah.
time periods, or one, or, because the excursion program as a whole hasn't been reviewed in quite a while, so we should look at it top to bottom
Yeah,
and find
I think
out,
so.
is it meeting the needs, what it was originally done for as well, for the traveling public?
We used to talk about the 2 months and we had all these other things, but then you get into people taking a car to Florida and for next to nothing. So that doesn't work. So there's all different. I just think if we're going to look at it to this depth, we should look at that part.
I agree.
Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Looking at this whole thing, my concern, and again, as Nat, as you pointed out multiple times, is a different dynamic. And many of the people using excursions on the island are going over and coming back in the same day because, you know, they expect to be able to do that. And that's part of our problem in terms of revenue going forward. But yeah, so to Mark's point, it's something we really have to look at this year.
I would just like to add that when it became, this was a topic of big discussion in the Port Council, and it was evident that we didn't really have a chance to make any kind of a informed decision this year. So it was, I think one of the goals has to be that we have enough time to address the issue and be in a position to make a change if that's what's recommended in a timely manner. Because I recall, Joe, you had said, hey, we've already announced, it's already baked.
Yeah, we did that at the meeting on the vineyard.
And that really kind of tied our hands.
I would expect a late spring to start the process of this.
Good, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, where are we? Mark has a.
Okay, so next up, we have the transfer of funds from the bond redemption account to the replacement fund. So we have a cascading of funds each month from our operations fund. And as mentioned at the ceremony today with the Cape Cod RTA, we've received a sizable amount of grant reimbursement from the CCRTA, where our replacement fund, which is used for our capital purposes, is by board policy is limited to what our previous year's depreciation amount, roughly $14 million, which we filled up. And through the cascading of funds, now it's gone into a bond redemption fund where we have about $18 million right now, where as the treasurer, I cannot use those funds for capital purposes. I need to get authorization to put it into the replacement fund where I can pay out of the replacement fund. As part of our previous year's capital budget, we forecasted the reimbursement amounts to be used for these capital projects. So we're basically moving the reimbursements we got through this Cape Cod RTA from the bond redemption fund into the replacement fund to pay for whether it's the Monomoy or the other capital projects. So I'm asking for approval to transfer $17.750 million from the bond redemption fund to the replacement fund.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Just a question. This is a standard procedure that happens to
This
fall
is
with
fine.
requirements of the guidelines for
you-
approvals.
You can open and vote and the board will take it up second.
Yes, we've done this.
It's a question for
Yeah,
Mark.
yes, we've done this in the past, and because of the volume of the amount of the CCRTA that we had 3 million going into the year, and for the 18 million of the other boats coming through, that's and they'll probably be coming back next year if the cash transfers go as expected to do it again at the end of next year as well, or before.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Low eye.
All right. Salito, aye.
Cahill, aye.
Egan, aye.
Meaner, aye.
Okay, to the board, please, a motion. Moved.
I'll second.
Second. Discussion?
Yes. If I may.
Calling on Mr. J. Malcolm, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. Mark or Bob? There is a fourth OSV vessel that we have been talking about with Hornbeck, I guess, or with whomever is in possession of that at the moment. Would you, over the next couple of weeks before our next meeting, get a sense of what would be required to make a significant satisfactory offer to acquire that? And what that might have to do in terms of these funds going forward?
Yes, we can look at that. It will be something that not only the vessel acquisition, but we'd have to also be looking at the conversion cost
Correct.
and getting an update there before we really could bring something back to the board, Port Council as a recommendation. So that may take a little bit more time.
Okay, just
Okay, well,
speaking personally, that's a big recommendation of mine. Thank you.
The motion on the table is to approve the treasurer's suggestion of transfer and cascading of funds. So was moved. Is there a second?
Yeah, was second.
Any further questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Jeffrey, aye.
Malcolm, aye.
Jones, aye. Maura?
Tierney, aye.
Thank you, Maura. It is unanimous.
Thank you. And the last item on my agenda is for a proposed bond resolution offering the sale of Steamship Authority bonds in the amount of $20 million for the Woods Hole Terminal project. Currently outstanding, we have 82.9 million. Come March 1st, we'll be retiring just under 10.3 million, giving our float about $72.6 million. We have a bond authorization of $150 million. We're looking at a 10-year note. Our expected true interest cost would be about 2.74%. So that's what we're looking at. Right now, our current debt service a year is 13.8 million. Next year would increase to about 14.8 million for the next 2 years. With this bond resolution, we'd be layering the bond payments because we have a significant drop off on our principal payments in about year 4 and 5, where we go from roughly 10 million in principal payments down to 4 or 5. So we'd be layering it in to match that payment to keep a consistent bond payment, because we don't go from 19 million one year, 16 million one year to 5 the other. We want a pretty steady cash flow. So we're looking to asking in your packet for the bond resolution authorization to issue the $20 million. Originally, we were paying for the Woods Hole terminal with cash from our, as we mentioned in the bond resolution, through a cascading of funds, but put this project with the bonding and then using the cascading of funds for other projects like the IT or potential new fourth vessel.
Okay. Is there discussion on this issue?
Any discussion or questions from the Port Council?
No, sir.
I have
There-
one,
there-
the net interest rate. And how do you arrive at the 2.74 net?
So first, the Unibank, our financial advisor, comes up with that number for me. So they look at what the bond coupon rate is, and then they factor in what the bond premium is. So we're going to issue $20 million, and I don't have the number right in front of me, but we're expecting about over $1 million in premium coming back. So when you factor in that, how much you're borrowing versus your coupon payment, that's what the net effect is.
Okay.
So we're issuing 20 million in bonds, and we're going to get roughly 21.2 $2 million back in cash. So when you factor in that 1.2 million over the 10 years versus the 4% coupon, it knocks that rate down.
Does taking another 20 million out, I guess it's 20 net minus 10, so it's effectively like 10. Does that change
Yes.
our financial position in any way?
So looking through the cash flow, between where we have our money and the MMDT funds from our, approved, investment policy, we're getting over 4% right now on the short-term paper. So we're net money staying in for the Woods Hole terminal is not gonna, on the income statement, shouldn't really be a material change at all because the interest income would offset the interest expense out for the next year. So I don't see that. And then our debt schedule, we've been very aggressive, paying off over $10 million a year. So in essence, we would have this new issue paid off in 2 years. We'd be at the same place we are now.
Other discussion? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Let's do a roll call vote.
Aye. Well, aye.
Salito, aye.
Cahill, aye.
Egan, aye.
Meunier, aye.
Thank you to the board. Could I get a motion?
Vote.
Motion is moved and second by Rob. Is there discussion on this? Okay, roll call vote, starting with Rob.
Randy, aye. Jeffrey, aye.
Jones, aye.
Malkin, aye.
Tierney, I.
Yeah. It is passed unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Board, Palmer Avenue.
Okay, so we're requesting a vote of the members to authorize the general manager to award contract 06-2024 car rental services agreement, Falmouth and Hyannis, the Avis Budget Group, Inc. of Flushing, New York. The Steamship Authority had placed advertisements in local papers, requests for proposals for car rental services agreements for Falmouth and Hyannis. As a result of the request, 5 packages were sent out, Avis, Hertz, Enterprise, Allied Solution, and Thrifty Car, all requested the package. We received 2 proposals back when the deadline occurred. The current contracts for these services, I should point out, expire at the end of this month. And there is no more extensions under that contract. So when the non-financial portion of the proposals were evaluated, it was based on experience, staffing, hours of operations, vehicle fleet, and rate information, financial stability, and additional narrative information. They're either given a not advantageous, advantageous, or highly advantageous by the committee, which consisted of Mike Young, who is the Woods Hole Falmouth parking lot manager, Dave Kelly, who's the Hyannis terminal manager, and Courtney Oliveira, who's the assistant treasurer. The committee rated Avis Budget Group following the non-financial proposal as highly advantageous, and Enterprise Holdings as advantageous. After the non-financial, after those were evaluated, the financial proposals were opened. Avis Budget proposed a minimum guarantee of $210,000 a year, while Enterprise proposed $155,010 per year. So based on those, the non-financial and financial proposals, Avis Budget Group, Inc.'s overall proposals was ranked as the highest, followed by Enterprise Holdings. So we're seeking authorization to award contract 06-2024 car rental services agreement, Falmouth and Hyannis, to Avis Budget Group of Flushing, New York.
Okay, I've got just a couple of questions. The dollars speak for themselves, and they're obviously, they've been around here for a while, but my question is in Hyannis, I'm concerned if they're using any of the the parking lot, the parking up at the front of the terminal on School Street, or where they're staging their vehicles. It seems to me we specifically said at one time that they will park down at a level which I don't know where it is, but the question is, are they using the upper lot?
I'd like to say that they don't. However, what happens is customers come in and they go to that lot and drop them off. And then it's up to the terminal manager and agent to have Avis Budget have those cars removed as soon as possible. So there are occasions where they are dropped off and the customer has pulled into that lot, as opposed to pulling down below where we do have an area for the car rentals. But the terminal agent and manager try to work with the Avis Budget Group to get those vehicles removed as swiftly as possible.
Well, okay, but there's, as you know, I've had an issue with their sandwich sign out front of the terminal. In the town of Barnstable, there's sign codes and sandwich signs and things like that are not acceptable only in certain areas. And what can we do to either get that permitted or put a permanent sign on the building or something? I just don't personally think it's proper to put that sign leaning against the building as though it didn't exist.
I think what we'd have to do is we'd have to go to look at whether we could modify the sign out on South Street to direct the people into the terminal as opposed to going down School Street. And the sandwich board up above was taken off. They had it on the street previously, and we had them remove it, but they leaned it up against the door by the terminal building, so we can have them remove that as well. So.
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to make matters worse for them. I just want to either say it's legal or it's not legal, because it isn't legal the way it is. So that's something to be worked on, and that's regardless of what my vote is today. I just say, let's get that cleaned up. So is there?
Mr. Jones, so just so I can give you a little bit more information.
Yes.
So what we incorporated into this request for proposals is that so if a car is left up on School Street parking lot there on the upper lot, it's $100 a day fine to the operator.
How much you made on that?
Well, you haven't approved it yet, so I can't fine them yet. So,
well,
so
let's
we've
step in
incorporated
the
that
right
in, so
direction. Yeah.
you hit them in the pocketbook, and hopefully we don't get cars left up there.
Well, nice going.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for a report next year.
All right. Very good.
Okay, moving forward. Peter.
I'm just curious, we talk about a minimum guaranteed revenue of 210,000. What is it that we've made in this past year under the contract? And when we're talking about 20 vehicle spaces, it seems to me, I didn't do the math completely, but that the 20 parking spaces at Palmer Avenue would generate more than that if we had them available for just daily parkers at the Palmer Avenue lot. And then following up, a third question is, what is the demand of our traveling public to have this rental service at either of our terminals on the Cape?
I think Mark is calling up the numbers, I believe, at the moment. And I think in terms of Allison is very familiar with the parking lot services, works closely with the Hyannis terminal agent and Mike Young, the Falmouth agent. So
there's a lot of times when they will actually, is this on? Can't even tell now. We work with the Avis people budget people as much as we can. Sometimes they do have more than 20 cars on the property. They usually arrange with either Mike Young or Dave Kelly ahead of time. We don't really have too much of an issue in Falmouth. They've been great neighbors down there because it's one place where they come in and park and that's it. So, which is nice. Hyannis has always been a little bit of confusion. So we're trying to get that streamlined and fixed. So.
And much like the Peter Pan and Plymouth and Brockton bus, this is we feel it's a valuable service to our customers that they have this opportunity, whether it's island residents that have to travel and they come off and they can rent a vehicle without having to take their vehicle off the island, or or conversely, people that are going to visit the island be able to drop off at these locations as well. Same thing on the Hyannis Nantucket route. It's particularly in the summertime when space is so limited on the Hyannis Nantucket route that it is used quite often. So I do believe, while Mark's calling this up still, I believe the amount of revenue that we got, the $210,000 does represents at least a 10, if not a 20% increase over the total revenue that we received this past year, is my recollection.
My computer just timed out, so I have to reboot with all the security processes, so I'll get back to you. And as Bob said earlier, that outside of the dollar amount, the convenience that it gives the traveling public coming to us as well as the island residents, it seamlessly tying into our bus terminal is great down at Palmer Avenue. So it's hard to quantify that by a dollar, but the ability of an island resident who can't get a reservation in the morning, but be able to take a car back and forth, is a tremendous help to us.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second. Oh.
We don't normally. Yeah, it's just for the.
Okay.
Council typically doesn't.
Oh,
move on.
sorry.
Take an opinion.
Okay. Okay, never mind.
We always have opinions.
Okay, thank you for that. It's moved and seconded to move on, item number 2, procurement. Is there any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Jeffrey abstain.
Falcon, aye.
Jones, aye. Maura,
Tierney, I.
okay. We have one abstention, it passes. Moving forward. New and old business. Advertising policy. Jim.
Mayor, as the board will.
Thank you. As the board recalls, I believe it was last year, following some concern about an advertisement or series of advertisements that were placed on the authority's boats, the board voted to cease advertising. Subsequent to that, I have been in discussion with a number of the newspapers on both islands, as well as services such as the Vineyard Transit Authority, who rely on placing information on our vessels that serve the public traveling to and from the islands about things that are available to the people who come and go. And therefore, I would like to move that we restore our prior advertising policy. And I would ask that and I've discussed this, by the way, with Mr. Davis and Mr. Keneally, and that I would ask that we have the authority monitor the advertising that we take in, and should anything appear to be controversial or potentially not in the interests of the islands, that we review that perhaps with the board. But I'd move to restore the former advertising policy.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Peter.
I would just, 2 things. One, in terms of the authority monitoring the content, I would also like it to be monitored, not only for controversial to the islands, but also to the port communities on the Cape. And then also, I'd like to put this to rest. I'm in support of reestablishing the advertising policy, but may we never speak of it again.
Can't guarantee that, Peter. My thoughts are this, we discussed this both ways. My initial thing is, hey, we have the right to dictate what we feel is in line with, our mission and things, and the public, and have the right to monitor our policy. However, anybody who's, followed any Article 1, policies, and the public ability to say what they want to do, and when things like that, I mean, I just feel that, we'd never prevail unless we had something that was specific in writing to a point that there's no question. And I'd rather see that we have, our policy I thought was fine, but evidently we didn't think that it would prevail. So we withdrew. And I don't know, you know, I'd rather see something that's specific and tighten up what we have and say, okay, we're gonna, you know, roll with this. If they sue us, you know, they sue us. We can always, you know, take another avenue. But I guess to Terry, you know, can we, our policy as it stands and written, do we need to add anything more to that? I think we're all in agreement. We just don't want to have one side against the other using ships as a battleground.
Well, as I talked with Jim and earlier, and as I mentioned before, I mean, the staff summary back in July was to recommend that, you know, we maintain the advertising policy as it's written. And, you know, I understand the sensitive nature of some of these advertisements that come in. And again, I think we work cooperatively and effectively in implementing all our policies. So I think to restore it would be great for the island communities who have reached out to us. I know there's been a constant inquiry as to, you know, can we bring this back? Can we bring that back? And essentially each advertisement that comes in needs to be, as you mentioned, reviewed against the policy as it's written. And I think it's fairly comprehensive, and I think it's good. It's based upon several of the primary or main transportation authorities in the Commonwealth. So I think it's a good policy. I think we need to just be mindful that there are some sensibilities that might be offended at times. So that, I think that's what Jim was getting to. So we can have these discussions and whoops, I hit the button there. Sorry. I agree with Mr. Jeffrey to a point that we should restore it and then speak of it no more until the next advertisement comes along.
Yeah, I'll go. But here's the thing. Is it defendable?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, of course. Yes.
Well, we can defend anything, but I mean,
That's right.
Will it prevail?
Well, again, if I could predict that, I'd be a pretty good lawyer if I could predict winning every time, Bob, but it is defendable.
Okay.
You like that one, Joe?
Motion is made and seconded to rescind our previous vote and to open up.
Wouldn't, this would be, I think the Port Council have a chance to weigh in.
You can certainly do that.
Does the Port Council have any comments, questions on this topic?
I agree with the Governor Jeffries.
Let's
The least
send
he
it.
speak with, the better. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we can do a vote.
Yes.
Recommendation.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
okay. Mr. Lowell?
Aye.
Gordon?
Salito, aye.
Cahill, aye.
Egan, aye.
Meunier, aye.
Okay, moving to the board, Mr. Jeffries, excuse me, Jim's motion. Go.
Jeffrey, I, and don't ask me again.
Malcolm, I won't ask you again.
I'm gonna ask you again, Peter. I will go along with it reluctantly, but Maura,
Tierney, nay.
what did she say?
Nice.
Nay, thank you, Maura.
You're welcome.
Moving on. Okay, looks like it's election time for the Port Council. Lucky you. I'll leave it to you, Rob.
Well, thank you very much. And I would like to say it's been my privilege to be the chairman for 2024. It's also my privilege to conduct the elections for 2025 officers. I guess I would be open for ideas. I would propose that we consider Nat Lowell as the chair for 2025, having served ably as the vice chair this year, but open for discussion.
I would move that.
Just a little bit of humor. I would tell the new members, in the meeting Gordon and Greg, that they don't leave the room.
Okay.
I learned that the hard way.
Lived experience.
Yes. So, did we get a motion?
I motioned to.
So I'll second that motion for now.
Roll call vote. Meunier, aye.
Salito, I.
Cahill, aye.
Egan, aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, everyone. Well, you haven't started yet.
I know.
Oh, January.
So for vice chair, Gordon has been our secretary. He sort of moved into that position partway through the year, but would like to suggest that he become our vice chair in 2025. Would make that.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, no, that's all right. We know what we want.
Roll call vote. Munir, aye.
All right. Salito, I.
Cahill, aye.
Egan, aye.
Okay, so now we have a secretary position, and I know Joe and John, you've both been recently officers, having gone through the thing. Greg, you're new here, but you know, certainly we wouldn't mind considering you as a secretary. The main job is to sign the minutes, but open for discussion.
You don't have to do it.
I feel.
So moved before he has a chance.
No, really.
Feel I'm being.
So let's mute the mic. Okay, let's go.
Any discussion? Greg, are you amenable?
That's all.
It's a good way to get.
In general, I
Up
am,
to
but
speed
I
quickly.
have to understand my experiences on this port council is about 1 hour. So I'm
That's
not,
more than enough.
I'm not sure I'm prepared.
Well,
for that.
Gentlemen, the alternative, of course, would be Eric, who's not here, and that would be according to the the rule of not being here.
I think you can handle it. My hour with you, you can handle it.
They sign your name for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The good news is you were here when they assigned it.
This flattery is wonderful, and it appears I'm overqualified perhaps.
It's very.
So I will.
So is there a motion to have
So moved.
a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Munir, aye.
Salito, I.
Cahill, aye.
Egan, aye.
Yeah.
Congratulations, all the new officers, 2025, and thank you very much.
Okay. The election of officers from the board. I'd like to know, I'd like to announce that in accordance with the authorities enabling legislation, the authorities Duke and county members James Milken will automatically become the chairman of the board. Thank God.
So you say.
Congratulations, Mr. Milken. And there you go, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Enabling legislation also requires us to elect one of us to be the authority's vice chair and another member to be the secretary. Therefore, I will now entertain a motion to elect the Falmouth member, Peter Jeffrey, to be the authority's vice chair for the upcoming year, 2025, as the enabling legislation provides that the Falmouth board member will be the authority's chair in 2026. All goes well. So I'd like to have a motion to approve the appointment of Peter Jeffrey as the vice chair of the board for the 2025 year. That's moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Randy, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, aye.
Jones, aye. Moore?
Ernie, I.
Moore, attending, congratulations, Peter. I will now entertain a motion to elect New Bedford board member Maura Attorney to be the authority's secretary for the upcoming year 2025. As the enabling legislation act provides that the New Bedford member will be the authority's chair in 2027. So I'd like to have a motion to appoint Maura Attorney as the secretary.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? If none, all in favor, roll call.
Randy, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, aye.
Jones, aye. Maura?
Ernie, hi.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded, so our new Board of Officers will be, Jim will be chairman, and Peter, the vice chair, and Maura, the secretary. Congratulations all and good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, proposed meeting schedule for the Port Council. I assume in the packet you reviewed that, the meeting schedule, for the next year, which will probably fall on the same, just about the same as it does this year.
And that would be the first Tuesday of each month.
Yes. Any discussion by the Port Council? As we know, it might move a little bit over the course of the year as needs dictate.
Mr. Malcolm has a question for the Port Council.
Yeah. I have a question for the Port Council. I've been discussing with Bob the issue of timing of meetings, and my observation that for senior management, it takes a lot of time to prepare for the Port Council meeting and then 2 weeks later to prepare for the board meeting. And much of the information is the same, but it does change. And rather than taking that much time, I was wondering if it made sense to have the Port Council meeting on 1 week, followed the next week by the board meeting, so that there'd only be one set of documents that would be examined by each of the groups. Now, I'd also like to suggest that perhaps quarterly, we have a joint meeting such as this as well. But my thought is pulling things together to take away the preparation for these meetings from management time and operational time.
Wasn't this looked at before?
Well, I can.
I think we did once, but not 100% sure.
I can appreciate that, but I can tell you my philosophy was that rather than establish that as rule, I think as an as-needed basis, because we don't always need to meet collectively like this. I think the Port Council does an excellent job meeting under its own and, free from, anything, any board or anything else. And I think you do an excellent job with tearing the issues apart. I try to listen to every single one of them and I read the minutes and it influences my decisions when it comes, to the board. But the path to the minutes is developed, basically by management, and they come with their proposals and suggestions, and they give it to the Port Council. And then, so it's been vetted by 2 different agencies, and then it comes to us for a final. In some cases, it makes our job a lot easier, and I appreciate that. But I don't think that we get the same amount of interaction with the board because it tends to be a little bit more formal. And that's just the way it is. But I always enjoyed my time on the Port Council, and I've said this several times before. And, it's back when I first started in government that there was a lot of interaction and a lot of free play. That we get from the Port Council. You don't get that from us. I would rather say, keep it the way it is without making any formal declaration. But when we feel there needs to be a meeting of the mind collectively, that we so do so. At the request of the Port Council or at the request of the board. So that's my only feeling.
Open for discussion.
Yeah, just to comment, it'd only be 4 times a year. That means there's going to be 8 times a year that we're going to be meeting separately. So I don't.
I think there's 2 ideas that were on the table. One was to have our meeting be closer to their meeting.
And which is fine, yeah.
And then the second one would be to meet jointly 4 times.
4 times a year. But I think in answering Mr. Jones's question, I believe that we'd be meeting separately 8 times a year and only meeting with the governors 4 times a year, so we still would have our independent meetings. But I can understand having the one meeting just 1 week before. It doesn't make that much difference.
Other discussion?
I mean, I just. We got berries to catch. Don't really.
Yeah, I know, that's
exactly.
exactly.
I don't, I'm not saying that this doesn't merit some discussion. I think having a joint meeting 4 times a year might be a lot of work other than, I mean, obviously, we're not gonna have like lunch and all that. This would be either in Falmouth or Hyannis, I'm assuming, right? Gotta be when the Iyanough's running. I mean, it's not a bad thought, Jim, okay? I know we talked about this timing thing. There's been times where the board meeting needs to get, I mean, the port council meeting needs to go, it's too close to after your meeting. Like I can see April 1st, that's gonna get moved to the 8th, guarantee it. They'll be sending, because it's just too fast for new material. So it's sometimes it's the other direction. Your meeting's at the right time and our meeting is at the wrong time. And at least that's the way it's been, you know, the times that it's been changed. But the joint thing, I mean, I would leave that to, I don't want to say we don't have the say here, but I would let staff sit on that for a month, think about it a little bit. Maybe twice a year, maybe one in the spring, one in the summer, and then wait till the beautiful lunch and all this fluff. I like this. I do like this once a year. But maybe we should have a couple more.
Yeah,
We can do them here
maybe
in Hyannis, so you don't have to.
Yeah, definitely got it, Joe.
We're doing them in Hyannis.
Definitely got to go to Hyannis.
You know, I
that's
can't,
fine.
It makes it a lot easier now that I'm so used to it, not having to go.
I can't tell you how many times I get a call from Bob
Yeah,
saying, you know, we've got to move the meeting forward. We don't have, you know, the information. People come in at the last minute and things, and so where we're doing basically now, pretty much every other week, I mean, the you know, between the port council and things, it gets extended, and we need that flexibility. And I think I personally think, having been sitting on both the boards, that it's a little bit too cumbersome, and it's easier right now, the way we have it, you know, the first with the port council on the Tuesday or something of the month, or whatever it is. And the board, inevitably, the board gets pushed back.
yeah.
So for myself, I'm not interested in changing it, and I said it as needed is certainly adequate, you know, to cover the bases, in my opinion.
So I'm very sensitive to the point that Jim made about the management time associated with each of the meetings. And I would be curious to know, you know, if in fact it really is as burdensome as it, you know, it might be. I guess I would agree with Bob, though, in that the point of the port council is to provide advice. And if we provide advice too close to your meeting, then it really isn't an opportunity to have to take any advice, because it's essentially the same set of documents, and we haven't had the influence of the value of those conversations. And have been a couple of times this year where topics came up that were very, you know, complex, that required the amount of time. In fact, in some cases, we actually went past, you know, the authority meeting. So I guess my view is that I think the current setup is optimal, but we're all flexible, and when needs have occurred, we've, you know, accommodated those changes. So that would be my view. I think that for us to really do our job, having that time so that you can then digest the input that we've made and have whatever influence that might be.
Can't we just think about it until the next meeting? You know?
Well, you know, yeah, sure, always, and talk to the new chairman, you know. I got his
On the way home.
I got his cell phone number, and I know his home address. You can get to
I
him.
know where he lives.
anyways, I will take that, I think I understand your suggestion and it's a good suggestion. I would ask you would withdraw it from a motion. And then we continue on and look at it if we need to.
And maybe consider this at the next meeting.
Whatever, you'll be the boss.
I'll be the boss.
Well, it won't be me.
Any other thoughts from the board council? No.
Okay, so the question on the board is to accept the meeting schedule as published.
Is there a motion to accept the proposed meeting schedule for next year? So. Okay, roll call vote. Munir, aye.
Well, aye.
All right.
Salito, I.
Cagle, aye.
Egan, I.
Okay, to the board, please. Our schedule
Moved.
moved. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, roll call, please.
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, aye.
Jones, aye. Maura?
Tierney, aye.
Thank you, Maura. Okay, thank you, guys. Okay, year in review. That's scary.
Oh, what a year.
Do we have to go over it again?
Yeah, I would ask if Mr. Malcolm has anything to say.
I have something to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, on behalf of the entire board and also I'm going to speak for the Port Council. I congratulate you and I thank you for your leadership this year. And I'd also like to say to echo something that Mr. Rainey said 2 years ago. It takes a lot of people every morning to make the Steamship Authority run. People all through the organization, at the top and at the bottom and in the middle. And I think that one of the things that your involvement over the years with this authority has done is showed the concern for all of the operating elements that make the Steamship Authority work. And I thank you for that. I'd also point out that the authority has hit a number of milestones this year, and probably the most monumental of which is the vessel that we just saw in the arrival of the Barnstable, which we celebrated. And with this vessel and its two sister ships, the Aquina and the Monomoy in 25, I think we've taken a huge step forward to improve the reliability of the fleet as we provide our lifeline services to the islands. And actually, given what was essentially a 3-for-1 capital cost of these 3 vessels versus new builds, we're now well positioned financially to examine alternative fuels for new vessel builds, thanks to this really well done purchase and retrofitting process. I'll also point out that the authority made notable progress this year on other projects. The groundbreaking of the new Woods Hole terminal, which when completed is expected to achieve net zero energy status. The deployment of a new strategic plan, which the board and the Port Council spent a good bit of time on, as well as a thorough review of the IT systems and a process that we've started to identify and or source a whole new reservation system, which I think is hugely important. We've also voted to approve contracts, necessary repairs to the vessels and facilities, dry docks for the Eagle, the Woods Hole, the Governor, the Iyannough, terminal repairs, including Slip 2 and Vineyard Haven, replacement of our transfer bridges, and addressing the dependability of our operations. Also, somewhat sadly, I'd say, we authorized the sale of the Gayhead, which was just completed, and the Katama, which is scheduled for later this week. And we will miss those vessels. At least I will anyway. Also, regretfully, we accepted the resignation of Bob Davis, our general manager, effective next year. Luckily, Bob will continue to benefit the authority in terms of his skills and his knowledge in an advisory capacity. And we are underway in starting the process of finding a new general manager to lead the authority into the future. On behalf of myself, Peter, Moira, and Rob, I want to thank you, Mr. Jones, for your service this year. I'd also like to point out in unscripted remarks that in March, 4.5 years ago, when I first was appointed by Dukes County to this position, I took the boat over and met Mr. Jones, who was kind enough to buy me lunch at the Hyannis Yacht Club, and started my education. And he's still continuing the education. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jim. It's obviously been a pleasure. But I can't say that I'm completely enthused about some of the things that happened last year. And I think you know what I'm talking about. But we have made progress, and the progress is made by the board and the staff. I don't think the world understands anything about how the steamship runs and the number of hours and the dedication staff is to making it happen. By the time we get a resolution or something to pass, it's well thought out. It makes sense. And we just couldn't survive without that. And when we go on to new management, there's going to be a learning curve. And we do have the institutional knowledge of Bob, who will continue, thank God. But we have no idea who we will get, and even from what industry that person might come aboard that we finally tap. So it's going to be, a long year. And we just got to, pray that we make the right decisions and we find the right person and we join together collectively. So I want to thank, the board, for their support. And of course, the staff, which basically is the authority, and Bob. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you. We have some difficult decisions to make. You run quick meetings, excellent meetings, and you've given us all a chance to give our opinion, even though we may disagree. We do it agreeably. But I want to thank you for your service this year.
Here, here. Will you say it in the microphone next time?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, wait a minute. Public comment. Yes, is there any public comment, please? Thank you. It's in here somewhere.
Kate Warner, you can go ahead.
Hello, Board and Port Council. I'm Kate Warner, the Energy Planner for the Martha's Vineyard Commission. I have a couple questions for you all. The first one has to do with the Vineyard Haven terminal roof, which I think, as you all know, is in terrible shape at the moment. I'd like to know what material is going to be the new roofing material, and is there the possibility of having solar on that roof? I put the solar on that roof in 2002 or 2003. It was a demonstration site. Although it wasn't a large array, it has given some money to the authority and also served as an education piece. And I'm curious to know those two things first, and then I have another comment.
Okay, the engineers are still looking at the coming up with the package for the replacement of the roof. And we haven't made a decision as to what materials those will be at the moment, because we haven't been provided what those options and what those costs are going to be.
Okay, thank you. And are you considering solar for that roof, Bob?
Yeah, we'll be looking at that as an add-on into the process. So.
Okay, thank you. The second topic I'd like to bring up, I believe I heard Jim Malkin say that acquisition of a fourth vessel. I couldn't quite hear. Was that what you were saying, Jim?
That's correct.
Okay, I'd like to urge before you do a fourth vessel, I would really like to urge you to issue a plan as to how you are going to get to 2050 and meet the state's decarbonization goals. What the plan is for vessel acquisition or improvement of existing vessels. There's a lot of talk about the emissions of the vessels. As you know, we have an old fleet. That's part of your strategic plan that you all agreed to, that you would have a plan for how to get to 2050. And I understand the value of having a fourth sister vessel because you share parts amongst them, et cetera. But these are old vessels that you're buying. They don't have particularly good emissions. So I'd really like to see you issue a public document before you purchase a fourth vessel, showing us how you're going to go forward. It's not inexpensive to refurbish these vessels. It turned out to be much more money than you had thought. There are emissions issues with them. I know that the Monomoy is going to have a better tier rating, but that too is expensive. I'm happy to hear your comment about how, you think this will allow us to now look at alternative fuels. But I really think it would be very helpful to the public, including me, if you would show us a plan before you go forward and show us how the acquisition of this fourth vessel fits into that plan. So I'm wondering when would it be possible to see that?
So earlier this year, we started working with Naval Architects, Elliott Bay Design Group on coming up with a plan. So I don't have a firm date yet on when that will be, but it will be coming forward sometime this year.
So could that predate your deciding to buy the fourth vessel so we could all see how that fits into the overall scheme of things?
I'm sure as we're evaluating the possibility of getting the fourth sister ship, that would be something that would be part of the discussions.
Okay, thank you very much, and happy holidays to you all, and thank you for your service on our behalf.
Thank you. Any other public comment, please?
Nothing I see.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay. Moving forward. I'd like to entertain a motion to go in executive session to discuss and approve the minutes of the authorities meeting, executive.
We may want to have the full council adjourn their
Can we
meeting.
motion to adjourn, Bob?
Well,
Port council?
If you want to adjourn.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to executive session. Well, look,
We don't.
you are,
You won't.
you are invited to the.
Yeah.
session.
Well, I think we'll adjourn.
Yeah.
I want
You
to
don't
turn
have
to
to be in
go
session
shop.
to do this.
Back on that 5.
Are you driving back to Woodstock?
Yeah. You want to go?
Yeah, maybe we can.
Sure. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the port council?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I saw.
Okay,
Salito, I.
roll call. Oh,
I'm ready.
Well, I.
Dana, aye.
Ian, I.
Munir, aye.
You want to do this 4 times a year, Jim? And by the way, these lights look like drones. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Starting from the top, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss and approve the minutes of the authorities meeting in executive session on November 19th, 2024, and to review the authority's strategies to respect to collective bargaining negotiations and real estate negotiations, because the public discussion of these matters may have a detrimental effect on the authority's negotiating and bargaining positions. These matters include anticipated ongoing negotiations with Teamsters Union Local 59 and MEBA District Number 1 PCD and SEIU Local 888. Discussion with respect to a tentative collective bargaining with SUEI Local 888 govern the terms and conditions of employment for the authority's reservation and customer service employees. Proposed renewal for the lease of the town of Falmouth for the Woods Hole parking lot. Proposal, proposal renewing the lease with the Samuel W. Massey Irrevocable Trust for the Hyannis Employment Parking Lot, and proposed renewal for the lease with the Cape Cod Gateway Airport of the Brooks Road parking lot in Hyannis. The public disclosure of any more information with respect to these matters would compromise the proposals for which the executive session is being called. After the conclusion of the executive sessions, we will reconvene in public. We will reconvene in public. Again, may I have a motion, please? Move, second. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey, I.
Knock and I.
Jones, aye. Laura?
Tierney, I.
Okay. Then it is approved. We are in executive session.
Oh, not quite yet.
Well, not yet.
I emailed you a second Zoom link for the executive session to your,
I'm
did you
sorry,
receive that?
didn't get it.
Not,
Didn't
I'm
read
talking
it.
to Moira. Ms. Tierney?
You emailed it to which one?
To the Yahoo and your Steamship, I think.
Okay, thanks. I will get it.
Yeah, so you just need to sign off of this and then sign into that other meeting.
Got it. How long?
Thank you. 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you guys soon.
We're back in public.
Okay, we're back in public. Okay.
All right, back in session, folks.
We're currently back in session. I'd like to inform everyone that the Falmouth Community Television, also known as FCTV, and Sean Driscoll, the authority's communication director, are making audio and video recordings of today's meeting. If there's anybody else making an audio or video recording of today's meeting, if you are joining virtually, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon on the Zoom dashboard, or if you are joining by telephone, by pressing *9 on your keypad. And when you are recognized, please state your name for the record. Are there any?
Yes, Louisa?
Louisa Hofstadter, Vineyard Gazette.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, concerning remote participation pursuant to section 20 of chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 as amended, board member Maura Attorney is participating remotely today meeting because her physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. Board member Maura Attorney is participating in the meeting by telephone, conferencing, and all members will clearly be audible to each other. I assume we're audible to you and we to you?
Yes.
Okay. As a result, these members' remote participation in this meeting, any and all votes taken by the members today shall be a roll call vote. From there,
Okay, staff is recommending that the members authorize the general manager to execute a new 3-year lease agreement with the town of Falmouth concerning the Woods Hole back lot. Proposed mock-up of the proposed leases attached to the staff summary provided to the board. That the members vote to authorize the new 3-year lease with the town and to authorize the general manager to take all necessary actions.
okay, let's move to
Move.
second. Is there discussion?
Yeah.
Peter, yeah.
I would move to amend that any increase in cost on that lease is passed on to the annual permit holders at the parking.
Is there a second to that motion or amendment?
As a result of the increased cost, but
As a result of the increased costs on that lease. But it passes through to the permit holders.
All right.
Second.
So the vote will be to approve the 3-year lease for the parking facility as amended. Unless you want me to read the amendment of any increase would be passed on to the users of the lot.
Yes, that's the amendment.
Yes. So any further discussion on that?
Hold on one second, we lost tomorrow. Okay, we're voting. Leaving. Okay.
Maura, did you get the complete motion?
She has to leave it.
Okay, so roll call, all in favor.
Randy, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Jim?
Malcolm, aye.
Jones, aye. So voted.
Motion to adjourn.
I would accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Malcolm, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Randy, aye.
Jones, aye. We are adjourned.